Introduce the Australian War Memorial, your channel, and what viewers will learn in this video. Set the tone. As respectful, informative, and engaging, the Australian War Memorial is located in Canberra, the capital city of Australia. In the suburb of Campbell within the Australian Capital Territory Act, it sits at the northern end of Anzac Parade, along Ceremonial Avenue that stretches from Lake Burley-Griffin directly toward the memorial. This alignment is not accidental. Canberra was a carefully planned city, and the memorial was intentionally positioned on the central land axis that connects it to Parliament House at the opposite end. When you stand at the memorial and look straight down Anzac Parade, you can see Lake Burley-Griffin and, beyond it, the flag flying atop Parliament House. This design symbolizes a powerful connection between Australia's democratic government and the sacrifices made by its servicemen and women to protect it. The memorial faces south, overlooking Anzac Parade, which is lined with monuments dedicated to Australian military campaigns such as the Vietnam War, Korean War, Desert Mounted Corps, and more. This avenue acts like a pathway of memory, guiding visitors from the heart of the city up toward the memorial building. The location at the base of Mount Ainslie gives the memorial a slightly elevated position, making it visible from many points across Canberra and giving it a commanding and respectful presence in the city's landscape. Its physical location carries immense symbolic importance. Being in Canberra, the political and administrative heart of the nation, emphasizes that the memorial belongs to all Australians, not just to one city or state. It is a national place of remembrance, created to honor every Australian who served or died in wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping missions. The alignment with Parliament House represents a silent dialogue between democratic freedom and the sacrifices made to defend that freedom. The memorial's position on the city's main ceremonial axis also makes it a central location for national events such as Anzac Day, the 25th of April, and Remembrance Day, the 11th of November. During these occasions, thousands of people gather along Anzac Parade and in front of the memorial to attend dawn services, military marches, and wreath-laying ceremonies. The open space in front of the memorial allows for large crowds, yet the surroundings quiet gardens, the still reflecting pool, and the eternal flame create an atmosphere of respect and reflection. The setting of the memorial further enhances its significance. Behind the building is Mount Ainslie, which provides a natural backdrop. Many visitors hike to the Mount Ainslie lookout to view the perfectly straight line from the memorial down Anzac Parade, across the lake and directly toward Parliament House. This view visually reinforces the idea that the story of Australia's soldiers is permanently linked to the story of the nation itself. The idea for the Australian War Memorial began during the First World War, not after it ended. As Australian soldiers were fighting overseas, people began to realize the enormous loss of life and the lasting emotional impact the war would have on the country. Charles Bean, Australia's official World War I correspondent, witnessed the suffering of soldiers on the battlefield. In 1916, while still at the front line in France, he wrote that when the war was over, Australians should build a great memorial and museum to honor those who served and died. His vision was not only to remember the dead but also to tell the true story of what Australian soldiers endured. After the war ended in 1918, more than 62,000 Australians had been killed, and many thousands more were wounded physically or emotionally. Communities across the country were grieving, and almost every town had built small local memorials, but there was still no national place of remembrance. In 1923, a board was created to plan a national memorial, and Canberra, which was still being developed as the new capital city, was chosen as its home. The design for the memorial was chosen through an architectural competition. Architects Emil Soderstone and John Crust submitted a joint design that combined a memorial shrine with a museum. Their design was selected because it reflected both sorrow and pride. It would honor the fallen, while also preserving the history of Australia's involvement in war. In 1925, the Australian Parliament officially approved the plan, and in 1929, the foundation stone was laid by the then Prime Minister, James Scullin. However, construction did not progress smoothly. The Great Depression in the 1930s caused economic hardships across Australia, and funding for the memorial slowed significantly. Just as construction began to move forward again, the Second World War broke out in 1939. Despite the global conflict, it was decided that the memorial would open as a symbol of national resilience. On the 11th of November 1941, a memorial was officially opened to the public, even though parts of it were still incomplete. This date was chosen deliberately because it marked the end of World War I and symbolized remembrance and hope. The design for the memorial was chosen through an architectural competition. Architects Emil Soderstone and John Crust submitted a joint design that combined a memorial shrine with a museum. Their design was selected because it reflected both sorrow and pride. It would honor the fallen, while also preserving the history of Australia's involvement in war. In 1925, the Australian Parliament officially approved the plan, and in 1929, the foundation stone was laid by the then Prime Minister, James Scullin. However, construction did not progress smoothly. The Great Depression in the 1930s caused economic hardships across Australia, and funding for the memorial slowed significantly, just as construction began to move forward again. The Second World War broke out in 1939. Despite the global conflict, it was decided that the memorial would open as a symbol of national resilience. On the 11th of November 1941, Armistice Day, the Australian War Memorial was officially opened to the public, even though parts of it were still incomplete. This date was chosen deliberately because it marked the end of World War I and symbolized remembrance and hope. The memorial was created mainly to honor those who served in the First World War, but as time passed and more conflicts occurred, including the Second World War, the Korean War, Vietnam War, Gulf War, and modern peacekeeping missions, the memorial's role expanded. Today, it commemorates all Australian servicemen and women who have fought or served in any conflict or humanitarian mission. One of the most important figures in its history, Charles Bean, personally worked on gathering records, diaries, photographs, and objects from the battlefield. His dedication helped form the basis of the memorial's vast archive and museum collection. His belief was simple and powerful. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. These words are now engraved at the memorial. Over the decades, the memorial has continued to grow. New galleries have been added, technology has improved the displays, and stories of Indigenous soldiers, nurses, pilots, sailors, peacekeepers, and modern-day veterans have been included. Yet, at its core, the purpose remains the same: to remember, to educate, and to ensure that the sacrifices made for Australia are never forgotten. The Australian War Memorial is not just a building, it is a carefully designed space that combines symbolism, symmetry, and emotion. Its architecture was meant to reflect honor, sacrifice, and national identity. The design is a blend of Byzantine, classical, and Art Deco influences, creating a structure that feels solemn, timeless, and respectful. The memorial was designed primarily by architects Emil Soderstone and John Crust, who combined their ideas after a national design competition in 1927. Their goal was to create more than a museum. They wanted a shrine somewhere quiet, spiritual, and dignified, where Australians could mourn and remember. The building is positioned at the northern end of Anzac Parade, directly facing Parliament House, forming a straight ceremonial line through the heart of Canberra. This alignment represents a symbolic message: democracy and freedom on one end, sacrifice and service on the other. It is a constant visual reminder that the rights and freedoms of Australians were protected by those who served. Main layout. Overview. The memorial is shaped around a central courtyard, known as the Commemorative Courtyard. At one end of the courtyard is the Hall of Memory with its iconic dome. On the sides of the courtyard are long stone walls displaying the Roll of Honour, engraved with the names of over 102,000 Australians who died in service. Beneath the courtyard lies the Hall of Valour, honouring Victoria Cross recipients. Behind the Hall of Memory is the Sculpture Garden, with military statues, memorials, and artillery pieces. The exterior of the building is constructed from grey sandstone, giving it a solid, enduring appearance. It has minimal decoration, emphasizing strength over style, to convey that it is a place of mourning and respect. The style leans heavily towards Art Deco, especially visible in the clean lines, geometric shapes, and symmetrical structure. The front entrance includes a set of stone steps leading up to the courtyard, symbolizing the journey upward towards remembrance. There is also a reflecting pool in the courtyard, with an eternal flame of fire that never goes out, representing memory and eternal honor. The most sacred part of the memorial is the Hall of Memory, a circular room crowned by a mosaic-covered dome. Inside the dome are millions of tiny tiles forming a mosaic that represents heaven, peace, and spiritual reflection. Stained glass windows portray Australian soldiers, sailors, airmen, and nurses, symbolizing all who served. Beneath the dome lies the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier, placed there in 1993. This tomb holds the remains of an unidentified soldier from World War I, symbolizing every Australian who died without a known grave. Interior exhibition spaces. Beyond the commemorative courtyard, the memorial extends into museum galleries and archives. These areas display thousands of wartime artifacts such as uniforms, medals, letters, aircraft, military vehicles, weapons, and personal belongings of soldiers. The layout is designed to take visitors on a journey from World War I to modern conflicts. The exhibition halls are carefully lit to protect historical objects while creating a quiet, respectful atmosphere. Many displays use life-size dioramas, realistic three-dimensional scenes to show soldiers in trenches, deserts, jungles, and battlefields. Design philosophy. Everything in the memorial, from the architecture to the layouts, is designed to guide the visitor emotionally. The path leads from open, outdoor spaces toward more enclosed, quiet, sacred spaces. This mirrors the journey from public commemoration to personal reflection. The architecture combines strength with silence, history with symbolism. Its position in Canberra's landscape, its dome, courtyard, stone walls, and galleries all work together to create a place not just shine but felt. At the heart of the Australian War Memorial lies its most sacred and emotional space, the Hall of Memory. This is not just a room, it is a shrine dedicated to every Australian who has served and died in war. It represents sorrow, respect, pride, and national remembrance, all in one place. Location in the memorial layout. The Hall of Memory is located at the northern end of the commemorative courtyard. Visitors walk past the reflecting pool, eternal flame, and the long row of honor walls before reaching the hall. This journey is designed to prepare the visitor, from public remembrance to a deeply personal and spiritual experience. Architecture and symbolism. The Hall of Memory is a tall, circular chamber crowned by a magnificent dome, which is one of the most iconic features of the memorial. The building's shape and quiet atmosphere create a feeling of being in a sacred space, similar to a cathedral, but dedicated not to religion, but to national memory. The dome is covered inside with a mosaic artwork made from over 6 million individual glass tiles. The mosaic represents the heavens, symbolizing peace, eternal life, and the souls of the fallen. The interior walls are decorated with stained glass windows, each showing a figure representing the qualities of Australian servicemen and women, such as devotion, sacrifice, loyalty, compassion, and courage. These figures symbolize service across all military branches, the Army, Navy, Air Force, and medical staff like nurses. The colors used in the mosaics and windows, deep blues, golds, reds, and greens, are symbolic of life, sacrifice, and remembrance. The tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. In the center of the hall lies the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier, a powerful and emotional symbol. This tomb contains the remains of an unidentified Australian soldier from World War I. His body was recovered from a battlefield cemetery in France and brought home in 1993. The tomb was officially placed in the Hall of Memory on the 11th of November 1993, exactly 75 years after the end of World War II. The ceremony was attended by thousands of people and broadcast across Australia. The unknown soldier represents all Australian soldiers who died in war and have no known grave. His tomb is made of polished red granite, with an inscription that reads, "An unknown Australian soldier killed in the war of 1914 to 1918, above the tomb. Visitors often see red poppies placed by families and visitors, symbolizing remembrance. Charles Bean's inscription. On the walls around the tomb are the words written by war historian Charles Bean, which beautifully describe the purpose of the memorial. He is one of them, and he is all of us. This simple sentence means that the unknown soldier represents every Australian who fought, suffered, and died in service to their country. Atmosphere and visitor experience. Inside the hall, the atmosphere is silent, peaceful, and deeply moving. The dim lighting, the soft echoes of footsteps on stone, and the glow of the stained glass create a space for reflection. Many visitors stand quietly, some in tears, thinking about loved ones, ancestors, or the cost of war. The Hall of Memory is not about glorifying war. It is about remembering sacrifice, honoring courage, and understanding the human impact of conflict. It reminds visitors that freedom and peace have come at a great cost, paid by ordinary Australians who displayed extraordinary courage. Beyond the Hall of Memory, the Australian War Memorial extends into a series of expansive galleries and exhibition spaces. These galleries are carefully designed to educate visitors about Australia's involvement in wars and peacekeeping missions, while also telling the personal stories of the men and women who served. They combine historical artifacts, photographs, documents, interactive displays, dioramas, and large-scale objects such as aircraft, vehicles, and artillery. Major galleries. World War I Gallery. This gallery focuses on Australia's involvement in the First World War, including the Gallipoli Campaign, the Western Front, and other theaters of conflict. Artifacts include soldiers, uniforms, weapons, letters, diaries, photographs, and personal effects. Life-size dioramas recreate battlefield conditions, trenches, and wartime life to give visitors an immersive understanding of the soldiers' experiences. World War II Gallery, covering Australia's campaigns in Europe, North Africa, the Pacific, and Asia. This gallery highlights both military operations and the impact of war on civilians. Visitors can see tanks, artillery pieces, aircraft, and naval models alongside letters and photographs that tell human stories of courage and sacrifice. Modern conflicts and peacekeeping. These galleries explore Australia's involvement in post-World War II conflicts, including Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, and ongoing peacekeeping missions. They focus on contemporary challenges, the evolution of military technology, and personal accounts from veterans. Interactive and multimedia displays. Many galleries feature interactive screens, digital archives, and audiovisual presentations. Visitors can listen to oral histories, watch historical footage, or explore maps and battle plans. These interactive elements allow people to engage with history on a personal and emotional level. Special collections. Aircraft Hall. This hall houses historic planes used by the Royal Australian Air Force, including fighter planes, bombers, and reconnaissance aircraft. Each aircraft is accompanied by the stories of the pilots who flew them and the missions they undertook. Vehicle and armament displays, tanks, artillery, and other military vehicles are on display to show the scale of warfare and technological evolution. These exhibits are often complemented with stories of the crews who operated them. Medals and decorations. The memorial also holds the nation's collection of military medals, including Victoria Crosses and other honors. Each medal has a story of courage, sacrifice, and heroism attached. Exhibition philosophy. The galleries are designed to balance historical accuracy with emotional storytelling. Visitors are not just presented with facts, they are guided through experiences that illustrate the human cost of war. Artifacts are displayed alongside personal stories, photographs, letters, and diaries to ensure that the soldiers, nurses, and civilians are remembered as real people, not just statistics. Visitor experience, walking through the galleries. Visitors progress chronologically and thematically, starting with World War I, moving through World War II, and finishing with modern conflicts. The layout encourages reflection and provides a deeper understanding of Australia's military history and its social and cultural impact. Surrounding the Australian War Memorial is a carefully designed sculpture, garden and outdoor commemorative space, which complements the indoor galleries and the Hall of Memory. This outdoor area provides visitors with a reflective environment where they can engage with Australia's military history in a more natural and contemplative setting. Sculpture garden. The sculpture garden is located at the rear of the memorial building, blending landscaped gardens, pathways, and memorial art. The garden includes numerous sculptures, statues, and memorials that commemorate Australia's service personnel across different conflicts. Each piece is thoughtfully placed to encourage contemplation, remembrance, and appreciation of the sacrifices made by Australians. Statues of soldiers and service personnel. Life-size bronze statues depict soldiers from World War I, World War II, and modern conflicts. Some represent nurses, medics, and airmen, highlighting the diverse roles Australians played in war. The realism of the sculptures allows visitors to connect personally with the people who served. Memorial plaques and monuments. The garden contains plaques dedicated to specific campaigns, units, and battles, providing historical context and honoring those who participated. These plaques are often accompanied by photographs and inscriptions describing acts of bravery or service. Artillery and military equipment. Outdoor displays include artillery guns, tanks, and other military equipment. These items demonstrate the scale and technological evolution of warfare and serve as tangible reminders of the conditions soldiers faced. Reflective spaces and landscaping. The garden's landscaping is designed to create a peaceful and contemplative atmosphere. Paths meander through manicured lawns, flower beds, and trees, providing quiet spaces for reflection. Benches are strategically placed, allowing visitors to pause and consider the sacrifices represented throughout the memorial. Water features, including fountains and small pools, add to the serene environment. Symbolic elements. Many of the outdoor elements are rich in symbolism. For example, the eternal flame, positioned prominently. It symbolizes the nation's undying respect for those who served. Pathways and layout. The flow of the garden encourages a journey from open spaces into more intimate, reflective areas, mirroring the emotional journey of remembrance. Views of the surrounding landscape. The garden looks toward Mount Ainslie and Anzac Parade, reinforcing the connection between the memorial, Canberra's ceremonial axis, and the broader national context. Ceremonial use. The outdoor area is also used for public ceremonies, including wreath-laying, Anzac Day services, and Remembrance Day events. The sculpture garden allows large crowds to gather while maintaining a solemn and respectful environment. Visitor experience. Walking through the sculpture garden, visitors are not only learning about history, they are experiencing it in a tangible, emotional, and reflective way. The outdoor memorials bridge the gap between the personal stories inside the galleries and the broader national narrative. They remind visitors that the memorial is not just a building. It is a living tribute to Australia's service and sacrifice. One of the most emotionally moving experiences at the Australian War Memorial is the last post ceremony, held every day in the commemorative courtyard. This ceremony is a cornerstone of the memorial's purpose. It brings to life the stories of individual Australians who have served, sacrificed, and, in many cases, lost their lives. The last post ceremony, held daily at 4:55 p.m. The ceremony lasts approximately 15 minutes. It is free for all visitors and is one of the most solemn and intimate experiences at the memorial. During the ceremony, a single bugle call, the last post, is sounded. This traditional military signal is used to mark the end of the day and, symbolically, the end of a soldier's life in battle. Following the bugle call, a reading is made of the name, rank, unit, and date of death of an individual Australian serviceman or servicewoman. The stories are often drawn from the memorial's vast archives, giving a brief account of the person's life, service, and sacrifice. A moment of silence follows, allowing attendees to reflect on the individual and all who served in similar circumstances. Wreaths or flowers are often placed near the tombs or commemorative areas. The ceremony concludes with the reveille, or sometimes the sounding of the bugle again, marking a respectful end to the remembrance. Significance of the ceremony. The last post ceremony ensures that the memory of individual service personnel is kept alive. Even if a visitor never knew the person, the ceremony connects them emotionally to their story. It transforms the memorial from a static museum into a living place of remembrance, where visitors witness the ongoing act of honoring the fallen. It emphasizes that each name, each life, and each story matters, not just as history, but as part of the living memory of the nation. Special annual events. Anzac Day, the 25th of April. Dawn and main services draw tens of thousands of people. The last post ceremony is incorporated into these events, along with marches, wreath laying, and commemorative services. Remembrance Day, the 11th of November, commemorating the end of World War I. This day includes ceremonial observances, minutes of silence, and educational programs. Other commemorations. The memorial hosts ceremonies for specific campaigns, anniversaries of battles, and remembrance of peacekeeping missions. Visitor experience. Attending the last post ceremony is often a moving and reflective experience. The combination of the bugle call, the reading of names, and the silent atmosphere creates a powerful sense of connection to Australia's military history. Visitors are encouraged to be respectful, maintaining silence, standing attentively, and reflecting on the sacrifices made by those honored. The role in national memory. The last post ceremony and other memorial events are essential to Australia's culture of remembrance. They provide regular, structured opportunities for citizens, tourists, and families of veterans to honor individual contributions, ensuring that memory is actively maintained rather than passively observed. It also reinforces the memorial's dual role as both a shrine and a museum, combining emotional engagement with historical education. The Australian War Memorial is fully accessible to all visitors and provides a comprehensive experience for those interested in history, culture, and reflection. Location: Treloar Crescent, Campbell, Canberra, ACT 2612, Australia. The memorial is at the northern end of Anzac Parade and is easily reachable by car, public transport, or on foot from central Canberra. Opening hours. The memorial is open daily, except for Christmas Day. Standard hours are usually from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., but visitors are encouraged to check the official website for any updates or special closures. Entry fee. Admission is free for the main galleries, Hall of Memory, and outdoor grounds. Some special exhibitions or programs may require tickets. Accessibility. The site is wheelchair accessible, with ramps, elevators, and accessible restrooms. Seating is available throughout the memorial for rest and reflection. Facilities. On-site facilities include a visitor center, a cafe, a gift shop, and information desks. Maps, guides, and audio tours are available to enhance the visitor experience. Best times to visit. Arriving early in the day allows visitors to explore galleries at a slower pace, while attending the last post ceremony at 4:55 p.m. provides an emotionally powerful experience. Special events like Anzac Day and Remembrance Day offer additional ceremonial and educational opportunities. Visitor etiquette. The memorial is both a museum and a sacred place of remembrance, so visitors should maintain respectful behavior. Silence is encouraged in the Hall of Memory, and during the last post ceremony, photography is allowed in most areas but may be restricted in certain galleries or ceremonies. Visitors are encouraged to reflect, pause at memorials, and consider the personal and collective sacrifices commemorated on site. The Australian War Memorial is more than a tourist attraction. It is a living testament to the courage, sacrifice, and service of Australians throughout history. From the Hall of Memory and the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier to the galleries, sculpture, garden, and ceremonial last post ceremony, every aspect of the memorial tells a story. Visiting the memorial is both educational and deeply moving. It allows people to connect personally with history, to understand the human cost of conflict, and to appreciate the resilience and spirit of those who served. The memorial invites reflection on Australia's past while reminding us of the values and freedoms that were defended. For anyone exploring Canberra or learning about Australian history, the memorial offers an unforgettable experience. It is a place to remember, to honor, and to learn, ensuring that the sacrifices of the past continue to shape the understanding and conscience of future generations. Take your time walking through the memorial. Absorb the stories, and let the space guide your reflection. Whether you come for history, remembrance, or personal connection, the Australian War Memorial is a profound, moving, and essential experience in the heart of Australia's capital.